for West Belconnen, as the kick from Hay was really difficult this afternoon, especially going with the wind and the driving rain, Sonny Singh.
Yeah, you're right. And one of the highlights from last week's performance from the Warriors was their goal line defence. They went in front with 15 minutes to play last week, and their goal line defence was absolutely resolute. The Roos threw absolutely everything at them, and they did very well to hold them out and eventually take the win. I
don't have any official stats, but I think it would have been about a 65 to 35% possession in favour of the Roos last week, just from the highlights that I watched. I dialed through some of the replay early today, just have a bit of a look at it, and it was always seen to be the Queanbeyan Roos on the attack last week, but it wound up being a West Belconnen win. So that's why we've been looking forward to this game through the past few days, with this being a knockout game. As we've got a scrum here, through to the little knock-on off the kick play from West Belconnen, and now we've got time off called by the referee. Discussion about is it the water carrier being told to get off the field, or have we got someone injured in back play? Not sure if we're bringing you the referees mic'd up this afternoon. I certainly can't hear it in my headphones this afternoon, Sonny. And we've got, it's a player being attended to blood, so that'll be Matthew Campbell there. Potentially a cut there on the face. They should just let him run into the rain for a minute, and the rain is definitely getting heavier here. We did have some fun earlier this afternoon, Sonny, where we set up our broadcast position in a different location from where we normally are, because our normal location is on a table out in the open. We've moved the table and we've got something resembling shelter this afternoon. We have, and it'll do the job. All we do yearn to sit in the grandstand, in the club with the rest of the Queanbeyan Roos members today. I think they're all enjoying a good game of footy in nice warm conditions. I think they are. Got to say, we've also both gone for the very much the warm weather gear, the scarf and the neck warmer and the gloves and the hand warmers. You've got to buy a beanie, Sonny. You've got to buy a hat, mate. I tell you now. You'd think for a seasoned Canberra veteran I'd know better, but that's all right. Well, small rookie error will let you get away with it during the course of this season. So the Roos take the ball away from their own scrum, and that'll be Meckie taking them up to halfway. Now it's with Nagiri. I just love calling this Roos side because there's so many attacking weapons in it. There's so many players who really can score tries from anywhere. They're an excitement machine. To be playing sudden death footy for them, we could be in for something very special, especially if it's close going into the last 20. That was Wiley. Now across to the right they come. Well, actually, they don't go across to the right. They were all lined up there, but instead it was Elton went for a scurry from dummy half and made maybe 1 metre out of it. We've got a whistle. We've got a whistle, and, well, the referee is asserting his authority fairly early in proceedings. He really wants good, clean play of the ball, doesn't he? Yeah, just too long in the tackle that time, and they'll give the Roos another opportunity here inside their 20. So how far do they get it to? About the 18. We've got Henderson. Oh, they come further afield. In fact, no, it's to Kylie. Let's go with Kylie, who takes the run to just outside the 11. Rain getting heavier here at Queanbeyan, starting to blow into our faces on this side of the ground now. Only a couple of metres out. That's Wiley with the headband on. Oh, they've got so many options. Hay, he gives it to, is that Hitchings on full tilt? I'm not sure who it was, but whoever it was has gone through at great speed, but he's lost the ball over the line, I think. He has lost the ball over the line, and the West Belconnen Warriors, well, they get a lucky escape. They do. I think it might have been Josh Ayres there, who scored a very similar try last week in a very similar fashion. Just running a good line, running hard and getting through. Did I say Hitchings? I think he did. I got my Joshes confused. Job lot. So now it's the Warriors bringing the ball out, and then again it's Tavita Araha Tuanavai. He was right in the thick of things in the Les McIntyre medal count during the course of the week, one of the 7 finalists in that award. And I can tell you from a conversation I had with him, albeit a brief one, he's very much primed for finals football. There's the first call of get him on side for the afternoon. Now we have the West Belconnen Warriors over halfway. And that looks like a player hurt in the tackle there. He's lost the ball as well in the process. Is it Matt Kelly who was down? I think it might have been Kelly. Yeah, it's been a scrappy start to the half from the Warriors. It's only going to get worse here. Yeah, the weather conditions aren't helping, but you don't want to give this Roos side too much good field position to start their sets off. Well, it's winter football. And we've got plenty of it here to come this afternoon. And of course, tomorrow afternoon, 1v2, Tuggeranong versus the Woden Valley Rams. It'll be Ryan Curran bringing you that one on Bar TV as the finals really ramp up here in the Osbreakers International Canberra Raiders Cup. That'll be Meckie for the Roos as they continue to work it across to the left. They continue to look on that short side. We saw Kylie on the run. Lost forward there by Josh Ayres. And the West Belconnen side have picked it up now. They're inside their own 20. It's extended, really getting the feel for each other period in this game continues. Great to see Jordan Bradley up quickly and making the tackle in defence for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. The Warriors not really showing any creativity at the moment, but it's wet and greasy on that ball. Bailey Lockhead now. He's a really good weapon for this West Belconnen side in attack. One of their most reliable players. Only half a dozen tries for him this season. Now the kick comes from Roberts. Goes down inside the 20 and it's fumbled by Essex. And this will be a scrum to West Belconnen. So we'll get to see what they've got in attack for the first time today now. Yeah, just probably had a look at the oncoming defence then. But yeah, this will be their first opportunity in attack, the Warriors. But, you mentioned earlier that the Warriors, they're not trying anything too fancy just at the moment. And we've mentioned throughout the season that the Roos are a side you almost have to try to play around. Their line speed is fantastic, and they're very quick to get off their line to smother any sort of attacking opportunity, especially when you're coming out of your own end. They are, and they're very quick too. You've got to be in touch with them late in the game and really trying to get away late in the piece with them. That's Taniela Moa in the 12 jersey for West Belconnen. Tackled on the 20. Lockhead gets the ball at speed. Actually, funny, he was at speed, and then just as he got the ball, he slowed right up. But he's made it to the 10, and they're right in front of the post. This is where West Belconnen like to attack from. And there's a fumble in there. A helping hand from one of the home side players. I suspect that West Belconnen will just want to take the tap here, or will they take the points? No, they'll take the tap. And so they'll, after the tap, be about 1 metre out. I think that was optimistic to hope they were going to get through on that side. Harry Brown, pretty ordinary pass, goes underground, eventually picked up by Jackson Duffy. They're back to about 12 out now. This will be the second. Spread out across the field they are. It might have been Dustin Litster. This is going to get harder to pick now. We've got a few players starting to get mud on them now, just for the fun of it. Can't mistake Bailey Lockhead for too many other people. He's brought to ground 1 metre out now. If they go left, they'll score. They look to go left now. That's with Keeley. He just needed to send one more pass. They had an overlap, a considerable one as well. And it would have been a Roha Tunavai. They've still got the overlap. They need to get it out quickly. McQueen doesn't do so. Ball goes to ground. And I don't know if I'm imagining it, Sonny, but am I seeing some sleet falling here as well as rain? You are. As we fantastic. And so we've seen a change over here with the ball going to ground here, and the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they'll bring it out from their own end. And now we've got sunshine. 4 seasons in about 20 minutes of football here. In fact, make it 11 minutes of football here at Sears Workwear Oval. Ball stripped away, so the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they'll get plenty of free metres here, and with the boot of Brent Crisp, that should get them up somewhere near halfway, if not over halfway. Well, they're not having to do any hard work, are they? Every time the Roos seem to get the ball, it's usually up inside the 40 or inside the Warriors' half. Indeed it is. So they give it to Nuku Nagiri. Takes it to the 30. Now Cronin with a little run. He's about 5 short of the 20. Oh, they've got numbers here. Where do they go? They go through Kylie. Now over to Hay. Hay with a run on to, is that Crisp? It is. Now Crisp is 11 metres out and just in from touch. Little run from dummy half. Doesn't achieve a great deal. Look at this. Look at how tightly packed they are here. Just to the left of the uprights. They've got so many options. Defence will have to be good from West Belconnen. They work it all the way across. Essex, kick comes through. That'll be too deep, and it goes out over the dead ball line. It'll be another 7 tackle set. Second one for today, I think, for the West Belconnen side. They didn't make much use of the first one. Yeah, and probably just the execution that let them down there, because there was an opportunity on the far side there. I think it's Miki on this right edge.
But, if that kick goes to hand, he's had plenty of open space in front of him.
He did. The kick needed to be a little bit wider. Aroha Tuanavai, easiest man to pick out this afternoon on the football park. Bright yellow boots and bright red headgear. There's a lesson in that for all of us, I think. Be distinct and stand out. That was Taniela Moa. And they're working their way up the field, the West Belconnen side. Apologies for that buzz in the line where we do have it being worked on. Oh, that'll be a dangerous tackle. Picked up beyond the horizontal, and now it's on with a bit of push and shove. We saw last week, Sonny, and we both watched the replay of that game. Last week, the game got a little bit of niggle going in it. It didn't break out into anything last week, but you've got to wonder how much longer these two sides will be able to keep their cool. Yeah,
I'm wondering if it was might have been Josh Ayres who might have been involved in that again last week. He definitely got under their skin a little bit. Was surprised it didn't escalate as much as it did, but yeah, there was a lot of feeling in last week's game, and there's even more to play for today, so don't be surprised if it breaks out again.
Well, 13 minutes in, we've got no score here, but the West Belconnen Warriors, there are chances. They give it to Harry Brown. He just directs the traffic well for him, doesn't he? Now it's in Lockhead. Lockhead with a little skip and a jump. Have to be about 15 out. Now that we've had the rain and now the sun's come out, I can't see any lines out there on the field. They're just lost in the glare. Matt Kelly. Ball's lost. I think lost backwards. Play on, says the ref. Dustin Litster. Slung around in the tackle. Does well to hang on to the ball. Does well to stay upright. And eventually, he's put to ground. Now, that'll be, I'm guessing, about 15 out. Spin it across the field. Brown. I think it was Harvey. Haven't called him much today in the 8 jersey. It was. Now it's with Keeley. Keeley onto Moa. Moa spins around a full 360. He's just short of the line. There's a corner post on this side, which helps us judge the distance. Back to Keeley. Keeley, kick through. Kick into the in-goal area. Picked up by their halfback Derek Hay.
Yeah, did a great job to get out of the in-goal, and now the sides earned themselves a penalty, but again, they get out of trouble very, very easily here, the Roos.
Oh, the West Belconnen side really not doing themselves too many favours in terms of actually defending up at the other end of the park and trying to get some sort of a repeat set. And so as a result, we do see them once again make it fairly easily up the other end of the park. Very slow play of the ball. Elton eventually sends it back to Wiley, and Troy Wiley again inside the 40. Elton again across to the left, finds Hay. Ball comes back to Hay. Could have been a little bit of a knock on in there, but just called play on. It was either knocked forward by a West Belconnen player or dropped back by a Kangaroos player. Referee deciding it was the latter of the two. So no change on the tackle count. Hay onto Bradley. He's about 15 out. They work it back on the other side again with Hay. Is that Nuku Nagiri? It might be. No, it's not Nuku Nagiri.
I think it's Josh Ayres.
It's Josh Ayres. It's the other second rower. So Ayres, how far did he go in the tackle there? I reckon a good 4 or 5 metres in the tackle to get over the line.
It is pretty much a carbon copy of the try he scored last week. They've persisted down that left edge a few times, and again it's come up trumps for him. He's just such a strong runner of the ball, Chris.
Well, when it works once, you may as well give it another crack. And I don't think it'll be the last time we see Josh Ayres try that this afternoon. Our first points on the board for this afternoon, 16 minutes gone, and it's taken that long for us to get there. And it's a try to Josh Ayres. The Queanbeyan Kangaroos lead 4-0 here at Sears Workwear Oval. Remember, for the winner of this game, they play the loser of tomorrow's match between the Tuggeranong side and Woden Valley. The winner of that side goes straight. The winner of that game tomorrow goes straight through to the grand final. The loser of this game goes home and starts preparing for season 2019.
That's right, and that try again off the back of a penalty that's conceded, and they've already conceded 4 in this half, the Warriors, and you add that to a couple of errors in good field position. You can't keep inviting this Roos side to attack your line, because as good as your goal line defence is, that this attack, there's just so much potency across the park for this Roos side.
Too true. I'm going to take a chance and go back to the notepad now instead of the iPad. 21st century text, great, but it's hard to see once the sun comes out. Chris taking plenty of time with the conversion attempt. 69 goals he's kicked for the season. He doesn't miss too many from this kind of position. Looks pretty good. And he gets the extra 6-0 to the home side. They draw first blood in the first final of the Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup for 2018.
It's been good so far. Both sides still happy to throw the ball around despite the wet conditions. It'll be very slippery out there, and we have seen a few loose passes, but both sides still trying to play enterprising football.
With a 6-0 deficit, the West Belconnen Warriors kick off. They give the ball back to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, and it's Jordan Bradley with the first run after the restart. And they make it out to the 20. I'm trying to think how many times this season I've seen Queanbeyan Kangaroos score a try and then they back it up a moment later with another one. They really are good. They've tried to catch their opponents napping here with a kick that it'll give the ball back to West Belconnen, but they're going to be way down the other end of the park. Picked up off the ground by Roha Tuinavai, and he's wrapped up about 11 out from his own line. Great kick chase from Brian Cronin in there.
Yeah, great kick chase and a great kick as well. I mean, that was another feature of their game last week. Chris wasn't afraid to kick on an early tackle count to give his side better field position. And again, the Warriors are going to start this set from inside their own 10 because of it.
Well, Matthew Campbell, it was fairly easy to pick earlier because he's got the bright red boots on. Now he's got the bright red boots on and a very thick bandage around his head. So he has been in the wars early and was picked up and dumped in that earlier tackle as well. Now, is that Dan Killick-Moran out there? I think it might be. That's an early kick, I think, from the West Belconnen Warriors. Rolls around on the ground near Sakopi Meki. Meki, well, he runs across field, and it is indeed Killick-Moran out there now. He's one of the tacklers on Meki as he's taken 25 out from his own line. Continue to charge forward this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. Just for a second there, I saw something held up on the far side. I thought it was a flag. It wasn't. It was an interchange card being held up. So, pardon me being confused in that little run from Tyrone Henderson. So he retires back to the centre. It was Elton on a run himself from dummy half. Had a chat with Brent Crisp at the McIntyre Medal night too. And I'll mention some more of that in a minute because he has deliberately changed his game style this season compared to previous years, Sonny, and it's interesting to note that and perhaps adds a little bit of context to why sometimes he is a little bit hard to pick up. There he is with the kick. It's a towering kick. I'll tell you what, that's gone straight between the posts and straight over the top of the post and gone dead on the full. Gives you an indication of just how much wind there is up there this afternoon. There's
a lot of wind again. He's got lovely kicking technique, Brent Crisp. That was he didn't quite nail that torpedo punt, but it's still enough. If that lands in the field of play, it's going to be a headache for any player to try to catch.
Well, we'll see him lining up at centre half forward for the Canberra Demons next week with a kicking style like that. I'll tell you, he did fairly well. Now, switching over to the other side of the field is Roha Tuinavai.
He's been busy early on.
He has been involved in almost every set that the Warriors have had. Now it's Dan Killick-Moran, pops it out the back to Lockhead. That's just a great combination of the forwards, those two boys. Killick-Moran and Lockhead, they're two very, very good players and complement each other's styles quite nicely. Now it's Keeley. Keeley finds Moa. Moa to the halfway line. Takes three Roos players to bring him down, and they had a fourth one in for backup. So they know how dangerous that man can be. Late ball to Matthew Campbell. Gets them inside the 40. So they're making ground easy. That's not the best of passes to Keeley. Keeley recovers well, puts it up high. Underneath it is Essex. Essex takes it on his right shoulder. Nearly loses his footing, but he gets up to the 20. Other than that early error, he's looked pretty good out there. Essex plays the ball on the 20. Or was that Crisp who took it? It was Crisp, actually, who's back taking it. There we go. They both got the yellow boots on. There's no difference between the side. Look at them. They're standing right next to each other now. They're both in yellow boots. They're both very similar build. I mean, you're expecting one to be back and as the other one. Nothing but confusion. So as I was saying about Chris before, as we see a penalty.
Yeah, I think we've got an elbow here.
Hello, we've got a leading elbow from a player with the ball, so it'll be West Belconnen to benefit from the penalty here. What I was saying about Chris before, he said as he's getting older, he finds it it's better to be kicking more as opposed to running more, or words to that effect.
He's had one of the best kicking games of the halves out of any team this season. He's been very consistent in finding ground and forcing repeat sets, so whatever it is that he's doing, it's working for him.
Well, last year, of course, won a McIntyre medal and only played in about 2/3 of the available games because of work commitments up in Darwin, so was flying in, flying out. There was some talk that he was going to miss the grand final because of it. I didn't believe that for more than about a minute, and he did come out and play in the grand final last year, but good to see he's been able to sort that out and been back in Queanbeyan this year. Now, Mitch Shaw, that's his first run this afternoon. Interesting to see how much game time he gets. You can see his right leg is incredibly strapped there. It's like he's borrowed it from ancient Egypt. Kick comes through from Harry Brown into the in-goal area. It bounced around a couple of times, I think. Oh, what's the referee called in there? He's called that a penalty for coming in over the top.
Yeah, I think we've got a second effort here, which is why he's penalised them.
Yeah, he's coming over the top on the tackled player, and so again, the Queanbeyan Roos, they're just able to get the ball out from their own end of the park. It's happened. Has it happened on every set they've had, or every set bar about one? I reckon it's happened on every set so far, Sonny.
Yeah, well, we've had 5 penalties conceded already, and I think a large majority of those would be from when the Roos are coming out of their own end.
Yeah, every time they've been inside their 20, they've been able to pick up a penalty. Again, from what I saw in the highlights last week, it's a big hit in the middle of the field there. What I saw in the highlights from last week, it seemed to be a problem as well for West Belconnen. Their discipline didn't necessarily help them a great deal last week. They got away with a win late in the piece. We return to the field now as the Queanbeyan Roos, as you saw them there, they ran it around and around inside the park, and that was Lockie Ingram in the 16 jersey who's come into dummy half now. Of course, they've got 2 dummy halves. They've got Reece Elton and Lockie Ingram, and both of them wear light grey headgear, which on an afternoon like this where it's a bit wet and a bit muddy doesn't always make it easy. That's a kick that will go straight down the throat of Ryan McQueen, and McQueen, after grabbing in on his 10, goes about 5 metres and is taken 15 out from his own line. This Roos side, again, we've talked about this too a couple of times, Sonny, how they've got so many players who can just interchange and swap around within the lineup as well. They're such a versatile squad.
Yeah, and a lot of them seem to go underrated and under the radar. I think we focused a lot on this right edge with Nagiri and Cronin on this edge, but that other edge with Henderson in particular, that they just go under the radar and score their own points.
When you have a look at the back line for the Roos, bear in mind they're missing Nick Grant, who scored a heap of tries. You've got Tonga on one wing with 4 tries for the season, Meckie with 9. Brian Cronin is the centre on the other side. He's got 12. Henderson's the centre on this side. He's got 4. So you've got 16 tries on one side from centre and wing, and you've got 13 tries on this side from centre and wing. You've got a 5'8" who scored 7 and a halfback who scored 4. There's plenty of tries, plenty of attacking potency in there, and they're a very hard side to defend against. Interesting to see Crisp dropping back into the fullback role once again in the 6 jersey. So just taking some of the pressure off Josh Essex, who is now actually, despite being in the fullback jersey, is actually on the wing on this side. So they really are, as we were just saying, shuffling around and interchanging the parts. Nightmare for Troy Thompson, the West Belconnen Warriors, to coach, because she'd come out with 2 or 3 game plans, and this Roos side, coached by Aaron Gorrell, running with 4 or 5 different possible lineups in the backs just to make it very, very difficult to defend against. Yeah,
just on a side note, Meckie came reeling out of that tackle, looked like he was holding his ankle. He looks like he's running okay now, but he pulled up a little bit ginger.
Well, just keep an eye on him. He's on this side at the moment, so he's got back to the wing. Now he goes for a bit of a run. Nagiri pops it around the outside. He's found Cronin. Cronin, a difficult man to stop, but they drag him down, literally drag him down by the jumper, as Matthew Campbell. He needs some help, and he gets it in the shape of Taniela Moa. That's the 20-metre line. Kick across field from Crisp. It goes high, and did he hang on to that on the way through? Was very lucky to hang on to it. Good take from the West Belconnen Warriors. So only 15 minutes till half-time. We've only seen the 1 try so far. Tavita Aroha Twinavai gets his side now out to the 30. Conditions have improved a little bit. There's a bit of sunshine around now. No rain at present. And the wind has even dropped away. It's almost pleasant here this afternoon. That's Moa. They're still short of halfway, this West Belconnen Warriors side. That was Dan Killick-Moran. Now the kick comes from Keeley. It's just on the 40, bounces on the 30. And that's Essex. Essex, a pretty ordinary ball, goes to ground in front of Brent Crisp. Not an easy one to take, and Crisp disappointed with himself there. He had plenty of time, but he rushed it a little bit. And just the littlest of knock-ons, and suddenly West Belconnen, well, they've had one chance to strike back that they didn't make much of, but they'll have another go at it here, Sonny.
Yeah, I don't think Josh Essex did Brent Crisp any favours there with a loose pass, and we have seen a few of them from him today, so it's not going to do much for his confidence. But yeah, you're right, a real opportunity here for the Warriors to bounce back.
That pass, it was just at that awkward distance. You know, sometimes you think, oh, I'll go the bullet pass. But is he ready for the bullet pass? Oh, I'll put a bit more loop on it, but you don't put enough loop on it, and it falls short, as it did. And here we go from the scrum. It's the West Belconnen Warriors. Second face play to, I reckon that's Joe Roberts in there. Coming across to the right, to the left rather, with Shaw. Shaw. Second tackle sees him push back to about 5 out there, straight in front of the posts. Now it's Keeley. Keeley turns it back around on the inside. I think that's Killick Moran. Killick Moran only about a metre short of the line. He loves scoring a try. He's only got one for the course of the season. Roberts tries to go from dummy half. Okay, held up over the line, says the referee. So we'll come back to the 10. So the Queanbeyan Kangaroos' defence is strong. West Belconnen, if they don't score here, they really do need to turn it into a repeat set. They give it to one of the big boys in Shaw. Shaw runs hard, runs straight. And it takes 2 to bring him down, and he's 5 short. So this is the last tackle. They've got Killick Moran. They ignore him. It goes to the halfback, Keeley. Keeley puts it into the in-goal area. It's picked up by Mackey. Mackey tries to get back into the field of play. He won't. He's lost the ball in there for a second too, I think. So it really doesn't make much difference. He's been tackled in the in-goal area. He's lost it in the in-goal area. So one way or another, it'll be a goal line dropout. Yeah,
and you picked it, Chris. You know, Keeley, good little kick into the in-goal there, and a decent chase. It gets them a repeat set. But, you know, they're just going about their business, the Warriors. They've completed 11 out of 13 so far to start this game. So they're getting through their sets all right. Just like to see a little bit more creativity from inside the 20.
Well, they've got a chance here. Look at the size of this goal line dropout. On a wet day, on a dry day, that's a remarkable kick. On a wet day, it's even more remarkable. It went 62 metres on the fly before it was taken by the West Belconnen Warriors. They bring it back into opposition territory through Daniel Killick Moran, 42 out. Now it's with Shaw. Mitch Shaw makes another 5. It's a phenomenal line dropout. I'm blown away by that. Now Lockhead. So there you go. They're the 3 big weapons for West Belconnen, and it's worked for them. They've made 7 metres on each of those tackles. Now Keeley. Keeley turns it back on the inside and finds Shaw again. They're up to the 20. I would have liked to have been a little bit further in, but they started from a long way back. Keeley onto Moa. Moa, he had Ryan McQueen there. I think he's got the ball to him, has he? Oh, they've got the try. Well, that's a great team try. Rugby league at its finest there from West Belconnen. And they bring it back to 6-4 with a kick still to come. How many players involved in that? 1, 2, 3, 4 players involved in that one, I think, Sonny. Great stuff. I think
you're right. And again, you know, the second row was had an absolute field day last week. I think 3 or 4 of them went over. And again, it's off the back of, you know, a very strong second row run. I think it was from Moa in the end who then popped the offload. But yeah, another strong run and well deserved. Good forced repeat pressure, and they're rewarded for it.
It's great when you see that kind of stuff happening. And a longish range try. That, bear in mind, that play the ball was, about 20 metres out when it was played. And 6-4, 11 minutes till the break. Kick to come. Lachlan Keeley, just there, he's picked up all sorts of goop off the ground in his boots. He was just trying to get it out from between the sprigs before taking the kick there. He was doing a little bit of a hop and a jig on the way through, trying to scrape the studs clean. We've got the best seat in the house for this one, Sonny.
We do. He kicked very well last week as well, and was the difference in the end. He kicked a couple from out wide, and Brent Crisp hit the post, unfortunately, with a kick that ultimately cost them the minor premiership.
Again, amazing how close this competition has been this year. We should say, by the way, congratulations to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, their first ever minor premiership, to pick that up and get the #1 seeding into the final series as well. As mentioned, you'll get that game live on Bar TV tomorrow. Ryan Curran will bring you the action from Greenway. 3 o'clock kickoff in that one. Here comes the conversion attempt. It looks good to start with, but pushed away to the right. I think we can say the breeze may have had a little bit to do with that. Lachlan Keeley unable to convert. But courtesy of the Ryan McQueen try, it is now 6 points to 4 with 9 till the break here on Bar TV. That's a long kick-off. It's dropped backwards there. No real concern. Can you hear that wind just howling through from our referee's microphone occasionally, Sonny?
Yeah, it did go backwards, and again, it was one of those awkward spiral kickoffs that just got away from him in the end, and he did well enough to keep the ball in play and keep the ball for his side.
Well, we've managed to get ourselves into a little bit of shelter here, which perhaps is lulling us into a false sense of security as to just how much wind there still is out there at ground level.
Well, that sun has ducked behind that cloud once again, so bring on the chill.
Yeah, more cloud than sun than blue sky here. Dan Killick-Moran. And now they play on, as you hear. No tackle made. And this is a big run from Ryan McQueen. He had two players on his outside. He had Campbell there and Aroha Tunavai. Didn't see either of them. Tackled on the last just inside the 20. Can they turn it into a repeat set? Keeley puts the kick into the in-goal area. They will get another set here, this West Belconnen Warriors side. We saw it last week. We saw it late in the first half and late in the second half last week as well. They really did find a little bit of extra speed compared to their opponents, and the same pattern emerging here today.
Yeah, they did. And again, it's a couple of offloads around the middle of the field. And Ryan McQueen, he was dynamic last week, and he's proving a handful again so far today. You know, makes a good break and then followed up by another good kick from Keeley, who's controlling the side well.
Well, we saw a 62-metre line drop out from Chris last time. He goes not quite as far this time. He'll be disappointed. It only went 59. But the West Belconnen Warriors, they give it to Dan Killick-Moran, and he takes it up to the 40. And now it's with Tim Middleton. I reckon that's his first run today. And he gets them to the 30, so they really are moving and moving well, the Warriors. 7 till the break. Oh dear. Oh dear. You can't give him a rap, can you? You're just shaking your head, Sonny. That doesn't work very well with a microphone, mate.
No. Just on the field. Your side's on the attack. And you get up to play the ball quickly and you put the ball down. That's a coach killer.
Oh, that is.
Troy Thompson has fallen off his chair.
Oh, well. You haven't had the pleasures of calling a game at Kipax yet. I can tell you it's good fun when you are, because Troy Thompson's standing on a little platform right next to the commentary box, and he leaves you in no doubt whatsoever about how he's feeling about the game while it's being played. And sometimes we have to turn our effects mic off at Kipax for that precise reason. Anyway, it is now the Kangaroos looking to strike back as they get the ball to their own 30. Now still Ingram in at dummy half for them. That was Baxter. And now Kylie. So they're working through their bench forwards at the moment. The Roos. I think that's the last tackle. It is. Crisp kicks from just outside the 40. Aroha Tunavai doesn't have to move too far. Just has to take a couple of corrective steps late in the piece as the ball bobbles away a little bit. He thought about an offload in there to Matthew Campbell. That would have been extraordinarily optimistic. And he's lost the ball in there. And the referee's just going to say it's a loose carry. And I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked that he was looking for the offload in the first place. And again, it's just trying to get a quick play of the ball. And he's cost his team big time here. This could be huge just before half-time. You talk about turning points in a match, and, you know, they're only 6-4 down, and they've done really well to stay in this game. And it's not what they needed 5 minutes out from half-time.
The question mark I've had about West Belconnen for much of the season, and bear in mind, early part of the season, they were competition leaders as well. The question mark I've had over them is about temperament and is about execution. And I think we've seen a couple of occasions in the last couple of weeks where they really haven't necessarily thought about how they're playing football. It's not quite pumpkinhead stuff, but there have been occasions where you've got to question what they've done, and it may wind up costing them points as Josh Hitchens has the ball for the Kangaroos. And it takes an amazing amount of effort there. 1, 2, 3, 4 players involved in the tackle. He plays the ball about half a metre out. They go across to the left, give it to Hay. Hay, jinks left, goes right. And again, still just short of the line. It'll be a huge effort here from this West Belconnen side if they can hold out the rampaging Roos. Nagiri, he's a try-scoring machine. And he's pushed over near the touchline. He's brought to ground. 5 out, last tackle. It comes to Essex. Essex, grubber kick, goes too deep. And the Warriors, well, they'll get it back with a 7-tackle set. 4 minutes remain until the break. They play some smart football here. They won't have to defend again before half-time.
That's true. Again, credit to the Warriors' goal line defence. I mentioned it earlier. Their goal line defence last week was absolutely superb, and the Roos threw everything at them. And just on that occasion, you know, Essex puts in a kick that goes dead and lets them off the hook. And that's when you want your halves stepping up on fifth tackle, getting the ball in their hands and putting in kicks.
This guy at dummy half, I'm a big fan of him, Jacob Graham. He's played some really good games coming off the bench for West Belconnen during the course of this season, and he really does change the point of attack and very rarely makes a mistake in delivering it from dummy half, and has the ability to do that as well, just to scurry and take a few metres and then offload and find a player like Mitch Shaw and then gets the ball back. He just really gets himself very much involved in the game. He's 40 out, other end of the park. Now it's with Keeley. Keeley finds Moa.
It's a great tackle down low.
Graham to Keeley again. Keeley kicks for the corner. Through hands and it winds up with Mackey. Again, so interesting to see Chris dropping back and playing much more at fullback in defence than Josh Essex. So they really are mixing it up, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Through to the break. Ball's come free. Picked up and played on. So that'll be a huge advantage to West Belconnen. And I think that's the first mistake we've seen from the Kangaroos inside their own 20. And now they really do have to defend in a big way coming in to half-time. Keeley to Moa. Moa bounces out of the tackle but bounces straight back into it. Only a couple of metres short. Graham again scurries himself. And they're only a metre out. Maybe even less. Middleton comes into dummy half. He's got Moa to his left. They go the other way. It's with Harry Brown. Brown got the offload away. Ball comes out back in his direction, goes over his head, and suddenly, instead of being on the attacking from the 20, they're back at the 30. They keep the ball alive, the Warriors. It's to Campbell. Keeley was the vector in the middle. Campbell just doing everything he can to stay in the field of play. Loses the ball. And kicked away in disgust by Tavita Aroha Twinavai. But the referee has called it a strip. I'm just trying to see if I can pick it up there. He's pulled it out.
Yeah, late call from the touch judge there, and we've got a minute to go before half-time here, so it could be a big play. Big set of 6 coming up.
Well, 55 seconds on the clock. And it'll be Aroha Twinavai. No, it won't. It'll be Campbell who takes the tap. Referee says no, we'll come back again. Clock still ticking. Okay, we're away now. That's Middleton, who'll have the lead at half-time. This set of 6 will determine that for us. Dan Killick-Moran, he charges and goes for the line. He tries to get underneath the Roos defence. He's held up about a metre short. Running at full speed is Shaw. Shaw, oh, too easy for the big man. That's simple physics for you. Get enough momentum when you've got a bit of weight behind you and you're over the line under the black dot. And it will be the West Belconnen Warriors who take the lead at half-time. The only question is, will it be 8-6 or 10-6? The conversion will be from directly in front. But Mitch Shaw, for a man playing effectively on one leg, plenty of potency there. Yeah,
nice little play there. I think it was Jacob Graham that jumped in at dummy half and just turned the ball back inside to another rampaging forward, and Shaw did the rest.
I said earlier, I'm a big fan of Jacob Graham in there at dummy half. He just seems to add a little bit more unpredictability than Joe Roberts. And I think that's possibly why Graham plays as comes off the bench and does it, because you don't necessarily want an unpredictable dummy half all the time, because sometimes it's very hard for your own players to read. But when you've got him in short bursts, which is what they use him for, it just changes the whole complexion of the game. 8-6 the score. What's Lachlan Keeley got from directly in front? There is still quite a bit of breeze around. He's kicking into it. I just heard a West Belconnen Warriors fan say, look out, we've got the wind in the second half. So there'll be plenty of confidence for the men in the 2 Blues. And it'll be 10-6, a 4-point lead to them. They'll come back out in the second half with the wind at their backs. Well, for the side that was gunning for the minor premiership 7 days ago, Sonny, suddenly they're staring down the barrel of elimination from the competition altogether.
Yeah, and they've had their opportunities this half as well. They had plenty of ball on the Warriors goal line, but the Warriors goal line defence has just stood up today and managed to repel a lot of what's been thrown at them, and they've made the most of their opportunities. They've kept the pressure down. They kept the pressure on when they've had the ball inside the Roos 20. You know, they've forced a couple of good repeat sets, and Keely's kicking game has been a highlight, and they've come away with a couple of good tries.
Well, we'll see what the second half brings us, but we are most intriguingly poised at the moment. Just 4 points the difference. This one's the knockout game. It's win or go home. One of these sides has 40 minutes of football, barring extra time. We'll talk about that possibility later. But one of these sides has 40 minutes of football left in its season. Is it the home side, the Queanbeyan Roos? Is it the visiting West Belconnen Warriors? You'll find out in very short order here on Bar TV. The second half still to come in our Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup match of the day, where it's currently 10 points to 6 in favour of the West Belconnen Warriors. The Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup minor semi-final. Always intrigues me, Sonny, that we call it the minor semi-final when it's win or go home game. We call it the major semi-final, or the game where the side gets a second chance. I appreciate it's the naming convention, it just always intrigues me. But it is the minor semi-final, and it's 10-6 to the visitors. And Sonny, you reminded me during the half-time break of a truly remarkable stat here about this Queanbeyan Roos side.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is essentially Everest for the Warriors. That the Roos haven't been beaten here this season, so if they do go on ahead and win it, they've achieved some feat.
Well, the Roos are the side with it all to do at the moment as they kick off. They go for the short kick off, and underneath it is Dustin Litster. He has to wait for a moment as the kick holds up in the breeze. The breeze has certainly died away at ground level, but I reckon you've only got to get about 5 or 10 metres up, and it's trouble. And speaking of trouble, there's a pretty ordinary, ill-directed pass. It's gone backwards. Yeah. It's been knocked on in there as well, or knocked towards the left of the screen.
I think what we're going to get here is a knock-on against the Roos.
Oh, geez. The West Belconnen Warriors, well, how many lives have they used up today? There's another one in there because they're very, very lucky. There was a little knock-on from the Kangaroos in there, so they get the ball back on their own 20. Brown feeds into the scrum. And they take it up to about the 30-metre line. That's luck, and sometimes better to be lucky than good. Hey, Sonny Singh.
Absolutely, yeah. It wasn't quite the start they were looking for, but they got out of jail, as you mentioned, and just got to get through this set now and work their way into this half.
Shaw. I'm wondering whether Shaw is out there on it. Well, do whatever you can, get everything you've got today, and then when you've run it a puff, off you go, and we'll save what's left for next week. Litster, the recipient of that set of play across the field. As you can see, he's on his own 40. Graham again pops it out the back for Brown. Brown takes it up to halfway. And Graham again goes left. The kick comes. That's from Keeley. And that's a pretty good kick. And it's a very good kick.
That's a fantastic kick.
What's that gone out? About 2 metres this side of the corner post. So it means that the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they'll get the ball back from the scrum, but they'll get it back on the 10. Another metre on that, or maybe 2 metres on that, and it would have gone dead in goal. Would have been interesting if he'd taken it as a 40-20 attempt, because he kicked that from just short of halfway. So the 40-20 a possibility here to keep an eye out for from this West Belconnen side in this second half too. So plenty to watch out for, and only 4 points the difference as Meckie takes the ball away from the scrum for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, their first offensive play of any substance in the second half. The Roos, if we know anything that we've seen, and we've seen a lot of them in the last few weeks just through the quirk of the scheduling, and we do know that this 10 or 15 minute period after half time for them, Sonny, it's hugely difficult for other sides to defend again. They really do come out, especially at home, as a stronger side in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half.
You're right, and as you mentioned before, they've got it all to play for now as well, so you do expect them to throw the ball around, probably not more than what they usually do, because they already play an enterprising brand of football, but as you can see here already on it might be the last tackle, but they're already throwing it around, and they might not have come off for them then, but again, it's something different, a little bit of change from what they threw at them in the first half.
Well, Graham tackled by Kepi, Meckie, and Meckie went in for the second time, and Graham just looking a little bit uncomfortable as he got up. I think he's okay. Just keep an eye on his right arm because he was holding it. He's just gone for another grab there as well. He gives the ball to Tavita Aroha Tunavai. He's on his own 40-metre line, asking for some clear air in the play of the ball. They don't get any help from the referee on this occasion. Tackle for you here from the referee. So they make it through the hands again to Thomas. And now the kick. This time it'll come from Brown. Brown, I thought he was going to kick left. Instead he kicks to the right. Underneath it, it is Crisp, and the kick is the catch is taken with 1 foot in the in-goal area, and that's good enough for the Roos to bring it back out to the 20. Interesting that Crisp is playing much more at fullback in defence there. And also Lockie Ingram playing much more at dummy half for them. So a couple of changes from what we've seen in past weeks for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. And I wonder how much of that's all influenced by the loss of Nick Grant. Yeah,
I think Essex might have been moved here. Looks like he might be playing at right centre, although Cronin is heading back that way. So maybe close to the centre of the park, just chiming in at half every now and again.
The try scorer for the Roos there in Ayres on a big run, which takes them up towards halfway. And now for Nua Tonga. I don't think I've called Tonga. I've hardly called Tonga at all today.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that, actually. You know, normally we're so used to him taking so many of those difficult forward runs, and he seemed a little bit quiet today.
So he's finally got to go and took the ball up over the 40, and now you see them work it all the way across the park, the Roos, through Crisp and onto Essex. And as you said, Essex seemingly playing at right centre at the moment. Now the kick comes from Crisp. Bounces once, bounces a second time on to Ryan McQueen. He'd let that bounce a second time as we see a knock on. So knock on by the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Wouldn't have been a try, and they've gone over the touchline near the goalpost anyway. So either way, it'll be the West Belconnen Warriors who get the ball back. Courtesy of the knock on, will come back out to the 10 for a play the ball. West Belconnen, they'd be looking for a couple of good sets here. The Queanbeyan Kangaroos side, well, they're just capable, as we keep saying, of attacking from anywhere. 5 gone, no score since half time. As Dan Killick-Moran sets forward on one of his trademark runs, takes them to 25 out in their own line. Now it's a Roha Tunavai. Still going. Takes 2 to bring him to ground. 15 short of halfway. Short ball to Litster. Now which way? Cross to the left. Middleton. Middleton 5 metres rather, into opposition territory. Keeley had to grab there before he could take the kick. As a result, the kick possibly not as well directed as he wanted it to be, and it's with possibly the busiest man for the Kangaroos today, I'd reckon, in Sakopi Meki. He's had plenty of the ball, and he's tackled about 30 out from his own line. Now it's Crisp, and they go on the far side of the park. Just trying to pick who that is in there. I think that was Cronin there on the wing there. So a bit of shuffling around going for this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. Crisp again. Now finds Hitchens, and Hitchens, that's a good run from him. 12 into Warriors territory. Tackle 4, Hay onto Ayres. So the last tackle, they're 30 short. They need something special. What have they got? Well, Henderson puts a kick through. McQueen thinks about letting it roll and roll and roll dead, but instead he has to pick it up, and he's tackled in the in-goal area. So it will be the Roos will get the ball back. Now, what have the Warriors got by way of a line dropout game? I ask this because we saw Crisp with 2 line dropouts in fairly short order in the first half. One went 62 and one went 59 metres. Yeah,
well, the standard's been set now. But just on that, you know, great little heads-up play from Tyrone Henderson there. Gets a kick into the in-goal, and a good chase from the Roos earns him a repeat set.
Well, the Roos are expecting the long kick. It's not as long as theirs. In fact, they work the sideline.
It's out on the full.
Oh, jeez. You talk about coach killers. This will bring the ball back to 10 metres out, directly in front of the posts. And it's probably a good thing that Troy Thompson for the West Belconnen Warriors coaching staff is on the far side of the ground, although I'd be surprised if we don't hear him at some stage, especially if the Kangaroos score on this set, because they really shouldn't have the ball from anywhere near this close to the line, and now there's a penalty for a knee. So they'll come back to the 10 with another full set of tackles. Ingram taps it, gives it to Hitchens. Hitchens, well, he tries brute force. We saw it work for Mitch Shaw in the first half. So why not? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Through the hands, and it winds up with Ayres. He's scored the only try for the Roos so far today. 9 for the season for him now. The Warriors' defence holds firm at the moment. Now it's with Hay. Hay, pretty ordinary pass to Crisp, but he makes the catch look easy. Evades one tackle, evades the second. Runs across field, continues to the right, his foot to ground. Oh, we're back where we started a few tackles ago. 10 metres out directly in front of the posts. Little run from dummy half. Last tackle, what's the option? Hay, grubber kick, taken by Harry Brown, and Brown does the smart thing, just dives on the football, plants his feet so he can't be pushed back into the in-goal.
And again, it's that resolute goal line defence from the Warriors that's highlighted there, you know, over the last fortnight in their performances. We're talking about the best attacking side in the competition all year in the Roos, and they're looking just a little bit puzzled when they get inside the 20.
Now we've heard a call of held there just as Tavita Aroha Tunavai escaped from the tackle, so he's had to go back a couple of metres to play. Now they're about 18 short of halfway. I'm just wondering whether they're thinking about a 40-20 here.
Just on the Roos attack inside the 20, Chris, how much of an impact is the loss of Nick Grant to their overall structure in the 20?
I think it's massive is the word you're looking for. That was Lachlan Keeley with the kick from inside the 40, but he didn't put it towards the sideline. Instead, just went straight down the middle of the park. Now that to me looked like Essex had actually gone back to fullback that time. So they're swapping it around again, chopping and changing this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. And they're after a bit of assistance in the play the ball. Meckie has a little bit of a push away.
I think it's important to have, as we see, a penalty here, just a little bit of rubbish in the ruck, but I was just going to say that I think it's important for Brent Crisp to get his hands on the ball as much as possible. You know, if that means that he's got to be in there at 5'8", then so be it. But I think it's his best position.
I think it is, and we just saw Tonga in there as well. On the run-up, and he really was almost conspicuous by his absence in the first half, so he would have plenty in the tank at the moment. And they're in a good position as they run from dummy half through Ingram.
That was a great shot from Matthew Kelly just before.
Ingram got the little pass away, then he comes back into dummy half for the next play. And they go through Hitchens to, that's Essex with the mud up the side. And now Meckie tries to push out a one tackle and is set upon en masse in large numbers, so I was wrong. It was still Chris back at fullback. And Essex playing almost a floating role in the back line. And we see Kylie, he's got the ball to...
No, he's short.
Oh, just short of the line. Tackle 4. I was waiting for Ayres to get onto it, and they didn't get the ball across to him. Now Hay, last tackle. And you can see where they are. The line is just there. It comes back to Crisp. Crisp puts the ball back. Now, was that touched before it went to Essex? I don't think it was.
No, we might have a knock-on here against the Warriors, though.
I was looking for the knock-on as the ball went to Essex, and it didn't come, but after the ball was released by Essex, there was the knock-on from the Warriors, and there is a Warriors player down on the ground as well. See if we can try and pick up who that is. Well, from where I'm standing, it's very hard to tell who that is because I've got a trainer's foot right in front of the player's face. I don't think it's an injury as such. I think it's more of a cramp situation. It's Matthew Kelly. And that's possibly why the referee's saying we need one more in the scrum, because normally it'd be Kelly packing down on the back of the scrum. So the Roos, they're down by 4, but they've had the bulk of the attack in the second half. And they've got a scrum here as they give it to Cronin. Tackled 10 out, 15 in from touch, far side of the ground here at Sears Workwear Oval. They go left. Bradley. 5 out. Got Hitchens waiting for it. Kylie, the man in the middle. He gets it. And again, they bypass Hitchings to Hay.
It's another great tackle down low.
It was Ayres again tackled just metres out from the line. Now it's with Nagiri. This West Belconnen Warriors side, I'm amazed that they get back on side because they're up so quickly. Ingram sends the ball out wide, and that's the last tackle, not the best of options. And so that'll be a turnover. And West Belconnen, well, it's been 12 minutes since the break, and I reckon West Belconnen has spent 8 of them in defence. And 6 of those defending inside their own 20. And what have we got over here now?
I think we might have another... What have we got, a knock-on here? We do, we got another knock-on, so we'll get another set of 6 here.
So a knock-on from West Belconnen.
Touchy's had a word.
Oh, I'm trying to work out, as we've had a call come from behind us as well, where's the knock-on? I'm trying to work out where it was.
I'm thinking there might have been a little touch. It was a fairly flat ball that went to... I'm not sure if it's Henderson on that right edge. And it might have been touched in an attempt at an intercept. I'll have to look at the tape later on, but that's the only It's the only hunch of a knock-on that I got in that play.
Certainly didn't spot it from here. Time for the usual disclaimer, isn't it, that the referee is about 100 metres closer to things than we are, if not more on this occasion.
We'll back Ollie Lovato and his team in on this one.
Well, he did get the Referee of the Year acknowledgement at the McIntyre medal presentation during the week, so...
You sure did. Congratulations to Ollie and everyone else who got an award on McIntyre night.
The most enjoyable night. 7 players in the running for the McIntyre medal until about 2 rounds from the end. You've got a feel for Lincoln Withers, a man who polled plenty of 3-point games late in the season for the Woden Valley Rams, elected not to play himself to have a rest before the finals, and then misses out on a potential medal by 3. A best on ground performance, and that was by no means beyond him, as we've potentially got a try here. And the little scurry over from dummy half has finally paid dividends, as has the weight of possession. And it's the Queanbeyan Kangaroos levelling it up at 10 points apiece. Trying to see who it was who made his way through in the traffic there. Not sure if it was the dummy half or whether there was a little offload in there. You're probably getting a replay on the feed at home at the moment. We don't have a screen here to take advantage of that kind of stuff. But 10-10. A sense of inevitability about that one in the end, though. Sonny?
Absolutely. It's just pressure that tells in the end, and can't remember who it was that made the bollocking run to begin with, but then got a quick play the ball, and then from there it was just a simple pick up and go. But yeah, that's relentless pressure from the Roos, and they needed to convert that because they've had enough opportunity inside the Warriors 20 in this half. And I think if they were turned away then, you know, it would have been a big dent in their confidence.
So with Crisp coming in for the conversion, the easiest of conversions. I've got to confess I'd already put it in the book that he'd got it. So they now lead 12 points to 10. Here's something for you. As we get the confirmation that it was in fact Crisp who converting his own try in there. Here's something for you. We've been playing 54 minutes in this game now. So these sides played each other last week, played this week. 134 minutes of football, and the combined tally of points across the two of them is 28 points apiece. Nothing between them. That's what you'd expect from a game between third and fourth. As the ball goes to ground, and it's picked up immediately by the West Belconnen Warriors, and Dustin Litz to the man who has the possession, and the West Belconnen Warriors, they'll be looking to strike back straight away. Bailey Lockhead. They're just going to use brute force here. They've given up on anything else. They're just using a sledgehammer to crack the walnut. It's worked for them a couple of times in the first half. Now it's with Keeley. Get ready for the big forwards here, Sonny. Which one? Who's your money on?
Let's go with a roughie with Lockhead.
Well, he's on the outside there. Picked up and dumped. That's not Lockhead. That was the dummy half runner. Now it's Lockhead. He was flat-footed with it. He's picked up one leg. Put down, picked up the other leg and put to ground. 5 out. Won't be him. That's Keeley again. 5 and last. So the Warriors, they need to turn this into a repeat set because it's a bit hard to score from there, you'd imagine. Brown with the ball. Sends it across to McQueen. McQueen puts the kick into the in-goal area, and we come back to the 20-metre line, but gee, it was a heart-in-the-mouth moment for just a second there.
It was. In the end, it's the right decision, but the goal line defence there from the Roos was fantastic as we see a bollocking run early on. As I was saying, yeah, the goal line defence there, they rushed up very quickly to shut down any movements out wide, and in the end, the kick just a fraction too deep.
So the Roos again into opposition territory and doing it very, very quickly. I tell you, it's a stat that I'd love to see compiled in rugby league is how long does it take a side to get from the first tackle to get into opposition territory, because I reckon the Roos would be about the fastest at it in this competition. Because they do it with just such astonishing regularity. They make 10, 15, 20 metres on tackles early in the count every time. Now the crossfield kick. There'll be a few involved in this. Ball's come free into the direction of Whanua Tonga. Now, let's wait for this.
We've got a handover.
Handover. So, geez, Tonga, he thought he'd got it down. A few people in the cars thought he'd got it down, but the referee, again, Johnny on the spot, says, no try. And it remains a 2-point game, 23 minutes to go. You can't pick a winner in this one. You just can't do it.
It's that close. And you mentioned an interesting fact there about how easy the Roos seem to get out of their own end and get into the opposition half. And I think a lot of that comes down to the unpredictability of their football. We've seen Brent Crisp throw a cutout pass to the winger on second tackle already in this half. And, when you're not expecting your opposition to go just one out, it makes it very difficult to defend as a line.
So it's the Warriors. Now Lockhead. That's Keeley, and they're 10 out. Because it was one successful conversion, the difference between these sides last week, and it's one successful conversion, the difference between them today. And Whanua Tonga, well, there's a sign of a man who's hardly seen the ball all day. He's gone to go and pick it up, and the simplest of tasks, but on a cold day where you haven't had a lot of involvement in the play, and after a fairly spectacular take at the other end of the park, he's messed up the easy one in picking the ball up off the ground. Rushed it a little bit perhaps unnecessarily, and it'll be the Warriors to get the ball again, about 20 out.
We've seen a few of them today as well, just off a kick return. Just the winger and fullback just not picking the ball up cleanly, and as a result the Warriors go on the attack again here.
Well, what have they got, the Warriors? Tavita Aroha Twinavai. And we've seen this happen so many times this year. He stopped only 2 metres out. This Warriors side, they're hard to stop from this kind of range. They come across to the right with Brown, McQueen, Thomas. Thomas only a couple short. They continue to work the short side. Had Jackson Duffy there if they'd been able to get the ball to him. Yeah,
I think Duffy wasn't flat enough then. I think it might have been his hook. I'd be a little bit disappointed he wasn't up a little bit further up.
Brown to Lockhead. Lockhead. He's such a hard man to stop. Still just inside the 10. The last tackle. Keeley. Long ball finds the fullback in McQueen. McQueen around the corner. Not sure who he's got it to on the far side. Doesn't look like a winger. Looks like it's got one of the forwards there. Can you pick who that was over in that far corner, Sonny? Because he's got onto it at speed.
I thought it might have been Matty Campbell that's gone over, but...
Could have been. Certainly wasn't the winger. Campbell had tape around his head in the first half that I was looking for there, and he doesn't have it on now.
Was too acrobatic a finish for it to be a forward, I think.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But they've stolen the lead back, this West Belconnen Warriors side. And they've left Lachlan Keeley with a pretty difficult-looking conversion. They're throwing the ball around the Warriors on the last tackle. I think everyone was expecting a kick play for them to try and get a repeat set, so go for something different. Go for the running play and return to the front.
Yeah, again, Ryan McQueen it was, who just got on the outside of his defender, and from there it was a simple overlap, and he's been so good for them the last couple of weeks. I think he might have even started the season in the halves, Ryan McQueen, and since moved to fullback, and since the move, his footwork is just, once you get him one-on-one, you back him in more often than not.
I've had a number of injuries during the season, this West Belconnen side, and they're not Robinson Crusoe in that, but they have had to reshuffle, and as we all know, that does affect the combinations, and players in unfamiliar positions take a few weeks sometimes to really get up to speed. That's not a bad looking attempt, but it's just waved away at the last moment. 14 points to 12. That's the lead at the moment. And it was Matthew Campbell who got the try, so well picked. As I said in the first half, he'd copped a bump to the head and then it opened him up. That's either stopped bleeding or they've gone for the stitches in the room at half time. But we're back to the West Belconnen side in front. Oh, phenomenal game of footy. And I know it is very much a football cliche, but it's a shame there has to be a loser to this one today.
Yeah, they almost muck up the kickoff there, but yeah, as you mentioned, the golden rule. After you score points, just complete your set, and the Roos conceded possession on, I think it was the first tackle off the first hit-up just after they scored points, and they've been made to pay for it again.
Most un-Roos-like, as we've said again this season, there's been plenty of occasions where the Roos have scored a try and backed it up and scored another one. They've not been able to do that today. Just the 2 tries in their book, one 16 minutes in to the first half and one 14 minutes into the second half, so made it hard, and now the Warriors get a penalty. It's almost as though we're playing in bizarro land here, because again in the first half we saw, how many times did we see the Roos get a helping hand out from deep in their own territory, courtesy of a relieving penalty, a couple of tackles into the set. Yeah,
as you mentioned, it is very un-Roos-like. If you look at the completion rate, in the first half they were 13 from 19, and the second half they're 10 from 14, so they've been a little bit better, but they've had all the ball. They've just been very resolute in defence, this Warriors side.
Did you say the Roos have had 14 sets this half?
They've had 14 sets in this half compared to the 7 that the Warriors have had.
And they had 19 in the entire first half?
Yes, they went 13 from 19 in the first half.
How many sets have the Warriors had? Half a dozen?
They had 17 in the first half and completed 14 of them. Yep. And in the second half they've gone 6 from 7 so far.
So they really have had next to no possession. Remarkable that they're still in this game, and even more remarkable that they're in front as they put the ball on the inside to their fullback Ryan McQueen, but the pass has been called forward. Oh, he was off to the races with Ryan McQueen. He was diving into the pocket for the tab ticket to collect on the winner first past the post, but he's been called back as a non-runner, and it'll be a scrum feed to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos.
What a huge call that is.
Oh.
We'll back the touchy in that he's made the right call there, but that's massive. That's a massive call.
Well, instead of a 6, and you'd think from there it would have been an 8-point lead.
Well, McQueen ran through and he had support players either side of him, so they were definitely going to go under.
Interesting in back play. Bailey Lockhead just in the hands of the trainer there. One of his legs being attended to. He's gone back into the scrum and he's been told, no, mate, you're surplus to requirements there. Riley Thomas and Ryan McQueen. So you got a centre and a fullback on the back of the scrum. Gee, I miss the old days of the scrum. I really do miss them. Roos bring the ball out now. You never, when I was a kid, would have ever dreamed about seeing a centre and a fullback packed into a scrum at the same time. You just never would have seen it. 17 minutes to go, and I dare you to pick a winner in this one. As the Roos get across halfway, Steve Dunn. That's got to be his first run with the ball.
Yeah, we had him in the starting lineup, but I think he must have come off the bench because we haven't called much of him.
And just look at the jersey. It is the brightest white thing out there. So he's coming on for impact for the last 17 minutes, and he's... Well, that's not the kind of impact that the West Belconnen Warriors would have wanted from him, as he's just dropped it stone cold as he was running potentially into space. Clouds starting to roll in again. We did check the radar at half-time, and there was a potential for rain about 30 minutes away just as the play restarted. What are we now? 24 minutes in, so we might be 5 minutes away from a wet finish to this one, which would be a shame. A few people have made their way out from the confines of the clubhouse to enjoy some late afternoon sun here in Queanbeyan.
How many curses have we put on some of these players today?
Oh, plenty. Plenty. It's great to see that the commentator's curse is well and truly alive. I can tell you Tuggeranong are probably glad I'm not calling tomorrow. I think I've only seen them win one game all season, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, which for a side that picked up the minor premiership and won plenty is somewhat remarkable given how many games we call here on Bar TV.
Yeah, it's good to see them bounce back to form last week as well. It means we've got the top 4 sides all pretty much going into the finals in form.
And we'll be down to 3, all things being equal, in about 16 minutes. As West Belconnen, well, the one thing they won't be able to afford to do is score a try and relax from here, because this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side can score repeatedly. But what have the Warriors got? Well, that's Riley Thomas taking the ball to halfway. Now Tavita Aroha Tunavai takes it over the halfway line. You won't see any field goal attempts at the moment. Between 2 points and 3 points in a lead is next to nothing. Very slow play the ball from Tavita Aroha Tunavai. Now Matt Kelly onto the halfback in Keeley. And then it's Shaw. I've been dreading that Kelly to Keeley play all day. I don't think we've seen too many of them. Ball comes back to... Oh, he's been absolutely smashed after he kicked it, Keeley. Keeley's still down. That was late, and that was high.
It was, and they've been penalised accordingly, and the Warriors with another real chance to start to blow this game open a little bit.
I'll tell you what.
But he hasn't gotten up.
He's taking his time to get up. He'll be okay, but it was late and high. And now he's staggering again. He'll be gone. That's it. You go down like that a second time, that'll be an HIA. And I can tell you, in my book, the Roos are very, very lucky at this point that they're going to get to finish this game out, or at least play the next 10 minutes with 13 men on the field, because I've seen less than that penalised with sin bins and send-offs. Yeah,
you're right. It's a massive play in the game too. It looks like he's going to continue.
Oh, so, geez, he's a very lucky boy. The way he got up and staggered, I thought that the verdict there was if you get up and you've lost consciousness, and I reckon he may have. I thought the verdict there was straight to an HIA, but he gets to stay out there, and the Warriors, well, that might just fire them up a little bit further. Taniela Moa on the first after the penalty is now half a metre from the line. To the right they go with Shaw. In the 17 jersey, playing on one leg, had a brute force try in the first half just before half time. Now it's with Lockhead. Lockhead reaches for the stripe. He can't get down. He's pushed back into the field of play. Roberts in at dummy half, turns around, tries to go himself. That was never really on. Tackle 4, says the referee. Ball goes back. Oh, that's a wasted opportunity now, because they'll be making their last play from the 30-metre line. They've lost 27 metres on that tackle. Last tackle. What do? The kick? No, it's not the kick from McQueen. He decides to go for a run himself. And he's taken in a tackle 15 out from the line. And it'll be a handover. So they'll take their time here. 13 to go. 2 points the difference.
Yeah, funny how the set all comes unravelled after a poor pass from dummy half. They lose the 20 or so metres, and then they look a little bit disorganised and then decide to run the ball on the last tackle.
Roberts with that attempted dive over from dummy half. I don't think it was ever on. They had too many players. They had a lot of players lined up to the left, and the whole thing came undone at that point. So it's the Roos now. 35 out from their own line. It's back to Ingram at dummy half, and well, there we go. Too much mucking around in the play the ball, and the Roos, they get some assistance now, and they'll be able to bring the ball out to, well, it'll be about 40 out, you reckon, from the line by the time the crisp penalty is taken. It'll be right on the 40. In fact, the touchy is already in place there. So now the Roos with it. Taking it for a run is Henderson. Tyrone Henderson makes it 10 metres for them. We've got 2 balls on the field here. Ball boy mucking around with it. Got to be careful there, young fella. That's 25 out directly in front. Roberts trying to get up. Finally gets there. They work it through the hands. Essex. He's popped it to Cronin. Cronin hasn't been as prolific a ball handler today as in some previous games we've seen, but he's done some distance with it when he's had the ball. Now it's Hay. Hay to Dunn. Dunn 10 metres out, straight in front of the posts. That's tackle 4. Trying some extra metres from dummy half as they work it to Nuku Nagiri. Nagiri scored 12 tries prior to today, and that might just be lucky number 13 for him, as with 11 to go, Nuku Nagiri puts it down over the stripe and puts his side back in front. 16 points to 14 with a kick to come.
I feel like I'm having deja vu, Chris, because Nagiri scored the exact same try last week as well. Looked like he was wrapped up, and then for all money, he breaks through and scores to put his side in front once again.
Can I say, we can put that down there to what happened off the play the ball. The play the ball went to Ingram, and Ingram didn't go for the quick pass from dummy half. He just went for a 2 or 3 step run before he put the pass out, and the whole West Belconnen Warriors line should have moved across with him and didn't. And it just gave Nagiri enough of a gap to get through to plant the ball and retake the lead. You're a braver man than I am, Gungadin, if you're prepared to say that that one will be the decider. With 11 minutes to play, there's still plenty left in this game.
I don't want to jinx Brent Crisp here, but this is pretty much the same position he took the kick from last week. That hit the upright. And it was 16-14 at that stage. Actually, no, sorry, it wasn't. It was 16-12 that they went in front, but
I'll put down 20 that he doesn't hit the post.
He'd be feeling that that sense of deja vu himself, I think.
I won't back him to make the conversion, but I'll put down 20 that he doesn't hit the post. It's a low trajectory kick from Crisp, and he's missed it. So it is still a 2-point game. The first conversion that Crisp has missed today. It's 3 tries apiece. Conversions have been the difference. 10 to go. What do you do if you're the Warriors and you get a penalty down there in deep territory now? Do you go for the 4 to win, or do you go for the 2 to level it up?
I think you level it up and get yourself back into the game at the very least. I wouldn't be thinking too much about applying that killer blow just yet. Although, what have we got here?
It's a hug fest at the moment. I won't say it's a punch on behind play. The Roos have said, well, we're just going to play on here, and that's smart footy. There may have only been 12 on 12, but it means that both those other players have just got to get up and play football again. And now that does happen. So that'll be the third, and they're inside their own 30. So the Warriors, they've suddenly realised that their season could be over in 10 minutes. Crisp, long ball. Tackle 4. They kick early from inside the 40. It's suddenly got darker here, and the wind has picked up. McQueen traps it with his foot, picks it up, and runs it to his own 30-metre line. The Warriors very slow to get back onside. Aroha Tunavai in a dummy half gives it to the other winger in Jackson Duffy. And Duffy only makes 5 metres. Well, they're all back onside now, the Warriors, but there's some very slow movement out there. Aroha Tunavai again holds the ball out in front of him as he crosses the 40 before tucking it back in towards his belly.
He's got through a lot of work for them today. He's been very willing to take up a hit-up at least every set.
And sometimes multiple hit-ups. Lachlan Keeley taken on his own 40.
Well,
ball's come free.
Decision that is.
It's been called a steal. And now the Warriors, they get the penalty. This one's far out for them to kick the goal, but they're going to get 6 tackles here.
That's a huge call, Chris.
It is a massive call.
They were going nowhere in that set. Yep. There were 3 tackles in. They'd made about 10 metres, and now they get a shot at the Roos goal line once again.
Can I ask, why would you try and steal it at that point if you're the Roos? You've got the Warriors going, as you said, going absolutely nowhere. Okay, now it's with Dan Killick-Moran from the 30 to 25 to 24 to 22. And he'll get up and play the ball on the 20. He just makes so many metres in the tackle. Lockhead finds Brown. Harry the Hat, 11 metres out, directly in front of the posts. Lockhead on the left. They go the other way. Find the fullback in Ryan McQueen. And he's finally brought to ground just short. Tackle 4. They work the short side. They give it to Davida Aroha Tunavai. He's pushing and pushing. He's either at the line or half a metre from it. He's being urged to play the ball. Plenty of interference in it. A few West Belconnen fans asking for some sort of help from the referee. It doesn't come. Now it's with Brown. Brown across to Shaw. Shaw to the outside to Thomas. Thomas, he's over. He scores in the corner. Oh, that's another great team try. And see this West Belconnen Warriors side. They come back and they steal yet another one.
It is never say die with this side, is it? They chance their arm on last tackle. Beautiful ball that gets a centre on the outside, and from there he does a great job to get the ball down in the in goal. And again, you just go back to that penalty. How big is that call?
Well, that's a massive call, but look, it was there. There were a couple of players in the tackle, and the ball came adrift. And the Roos thought they were off to the races, but the referee and the touch judge were very, very quick to make the call. The penalty, and then 6 tackles later, they're over in the corner. They have not made it easy for young Lachlan Keeley today. What's he got? 1 from 3 in terms of conversion, but he hasn't had any from. He's only had 1 from anywhere remotely near the posts.
He's got a very strong breeze in his favour this half. So
he's got to kick across it here.
He does. So you look to start this one from the far right, you'd think. But what a finish we've got in our hands here. the lead has changed hands, I think, half a dozen times almost.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this will be the 6th lead change today.
Fantastic finals football.
And a width of the field try there to Riley Thomas. That's not a bad kick. He just needs a little bit of breeze late to get it over the black dot, but instead it stays to the left. 18-14 the score.
18-16.
Sorry, my apology. Yeah, 18-16. And you did say something about deja vu, and last week it was 18-16. 5 minutes of footy. Oh, here we go. They've gone for the short kickoff. It doesn't go 10 metres. And West Belconnen, we've said it a couple of times today, they've been eligible for Pumpkinhead football at times, but that time very smart. Just let the ball roll and don't touch it.
That's it. Know your rules.
And take your time with the kick from the centre now, wouldn't you? You're not going to rush this.
Absolutely. 4 minutes to go, 2 points up.
Keeley makes certain of it going. Doesn't go for any ground. I think he's been lucky. If they play that from the 40, he's been very, very lucky. I think that only went about 5 metres.
How long before we see the magic cramp kick in?
Any second now. Taniela Moa goes for the first run. Of course, a try will win it for him. Who do they look for? Dan Killick-Moran. Yep, there he is. There's a lot to be said about being predictable at times. And now it'll be Bailey Lockhead. No, they go the other way. And they give it to Shaw. A man on one leg today, and he's played a remarkable game of footy. Now Dan Killick-Moran, he's at speed. He turns left and then straightens for the line.
Got someone down in back play here.
And it's one of the Queanbeyan Roos in back play. Is it Essex? Is it Crisp? He's got the fluoro boots on, and they're the two who are in the fluoro boots. You might be better trying to pick off which one of them standing in the in-goal area, Sonny.
I think Brent might be in the in-goal area if he's the only one in the yellow boots.
Well, for mine, there's only the two of them in the yellow boots. And that's Crisp in the in-goal. So therefore that would be Essex down there in the hands of the trainer. So 3 minutes to go. It's not so much the magic cramp, and really you wouldn't want it from the side that's behind.
No, he went reeling out of that tackle. I thought he might have been clutching at his ankle when he came out of it, but if he does go off, then it's another reshuffle you're looking at, and it looks like he is going off.
To paraphrase the Oscar Wilde line about losing one parent is unfortunate, but losing two is careless. To lose one fullback in a week is unfortunate. To lose two in 7 days, Sonny?
I think that's a little bit rough on the Roos.
I'm just saying. They lost Grant last week. They lost Essex today. They've got 3 minutes left. And the Warriors, they give it to Mitch Shaw, and Shaw is now right on the line. I'll back up. They go left. Well, if they can't score, they really do want to get another set out of this. They don't get it.
Yeah, it's not the worst result. They do make the Roos start this set pretty much 2 or 3 metres out from their own goal line, so they've got it all to do here, the Roos.
Mekhi.
And look at this line speed from the Warriors.
They're up real quick in defence here. Once they're getting back the 10, and they are. So this is 2 tackles. Let's just count this for the Warriors. See how many, for the Roos rather, how many tackles has it taken to make it out from their own line? That's 2 tackles. They're still inside the 10. And that's a 3rd tackle. I reckon that might have been Elton running through. So we've now got 2 of them out there in the grey headgear. We've got Elton and Ingram. It's the first time I've seen them side by side, and gee, there's not much between the 2 of them, and you're trying to pick it. Now it's with Derek Hay, and this is the 4th, and they're only at the 30. So West Belconnen, they've done everything right. Ball comes out the back. No hand on it. They make an extra couple of metres, but it's a last tackle, and they're still inside the 40. So is the 40-20 an option? No, it isn't. Crisp goes for the grubber kick. Diving on it is Tavita Aroha Tunavai. Smart play from him. About 2 to go.
Yeah, very smart. And he did well not to fumble that ball, because that bouncing ball can be a bit tricky to pick up, and we do already know that we've seen a few of those fumble throughout today, so he did very well there.
He took 10 seconds to get to his feet, did Oroha Twinavai. Smart footy. Was sure on the previous run. Now it's Daniel Killick-Moran inside the 40, inside the last 2 minutes. They can just about ice this one with a smart conclusion to this set. Bailey Lockhead, as we're now into the last minute, 52 seconds to go. That'll be Moa, last tackle for them. Now it's with Lockhead. He goes, he's over the 10, he's over the 2, 8 metres out, he's brought to ground. 40 seconds is all they've got to defend for. And the Roos, well, they've got to go 3 metres a second, basically. They give it to Meckie. He's 15 out, 26 left on the clock. They need something special. Hay, oh, he's got it, has he? No, he hasn't. He just gets wrapped up there. Dustin Litzer only laid one hand on him, but it was the difference between Hay going through and Hay not going through. Now it's with Crisp. It goes to Meckie. He's tackled. The ball comes forward. It trickles over the sideline. And you said it just after the break that it was almost like climbing Everest. In that case, then, the West Belconnen Warriors, they are Sir Edmund Hillary. They've done it. They've knocked over the Queanbeyan Roos. It's Sears Workwear Oval, the first side to do it this year, and what a disappointing end of the season for the home side. But what a victory for the visitors. Sunny Singh.
Absolutely. How about that? What a game of football, firstly, from both sides. Enterprising football, despite the conditions. And the Warriors, it was just a testament to their game plan today. Their goal line defence was phenomenal. Yeah, they made a couple errors here and there, but I'll tell you what, you take away those penalties and the occasional error here and there, and they were just fantastic in attack. They took full advantage of their opportunities. Their kicking game was very solid, and they thoroughly deserved to win today.
A super special game of football, and if that is what we've got in store for the remaining finals in the Ospreys International Canberra Raiders Cup for 2018, we're in for a real treat over the next couple of weeks. That was a ding-dong battle. 18-16 was the score between them last week. 18-16 the same score today. Try scorers for the West Belconnen Warriors. It was Ryan McQueen, Riley Thomas, Mitch Shaw, and who was the last one? Oh, Thomas was Campbell's the other one. I didn't put a little note next to him. So Campbell was the other one. And Lachlan Keeley, 1 from 4 with the boot today. For the Queanbeyan Roos, it was tries to, I've got Ayres, Nagiri and Crisp. Throwing a couple of conversions to Crisp, and that makes it 16 points as well. So we've got all that adding up to 18 points to 16. For the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, it doesn't matter a hill of beans. For the West Belconnen Warriors, they go on to next week. Firstly, Sonny, a bit of a summary on the Roos today from you.
Look, I'm almost disappointed for them as well, because they've been so exciting to watch throughout the year. Their attack has just been one of the best to watch. They like to throw the ball around. Brent Crisp has been phenomenal all year round, and a bit unfortunate with a couple of key changes out of their side today. But at the end of the day, that's not the reason they lost. Just too many errors in the end. I think their completion rate for as much ball as they had in the second half, gave away 5 penalties, made 6 errors. So they definitely came off second best, but they can definitely hold their heads up high. It was a very, very good season for them, and they'll come back just as strong next year.
The West Belconnen Warriors, I've seen them do it a couple of times this year, most notably against Tuggeranong at Greenway in the early part of the season, where they really didn't play to their potential, but they still managed to grind out a win. And I think last week again you'd say they really didn't play to their potential other than their defence, but they still ground out a win. And today, their attack was a little bit better, and that's all you need. If you can improve a tiny bit each week in the final series, you're going to do all right.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. There wasn't anything too extravagant about what they did today. They completed their sets, got to the end with a good kick, forced repeat sets when they had the opportunity, and took those attacking opportunities when they had them inside the 20. There was nothing flash about it. They got the job done. Thoroughly deserved the win today.
For mine, the Warriors next week, they need to improve their discipline a little bit further. They gave the Queanbeyan Kangaroos so many penalties. What was that penalty count? I know you keep a tally there.
Yeah, there was 6 and 0, so there was 10 all up in that game that the Warriors conceded. So 10 penalties overall.
And a lot of those 6 in a row or 6 sets in a row, we think for the Roos coming out of their own end and picking up a penalty between the 20 and 40 from their own line. So the Warriors, they need to work on that next week. But most importantly for them, they'll be there next week. Who will they play next Sunday afternoon? Well, it'll be the loser of tomorrow's game, and what an appetising game of football that is. You've got the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, minor premiers, up against the Woden Valley Rams, who are, I think, in their first final series since 2009, and who are on an absolute tear. They've won 10 of their last 11. The other one of those 11 games is a draw for the Woden Valley Rams. They are the hot form side and went within an ace of making the minor premiership themselves.
Yeah, I saw them last week, and you want to talk attacking football, and they've got it in bucket loads. So, yeah, it'll be a very good game out there tomorrow. So if you've got nothing to do and you're out at Greenway, get out there.
Check that one out tomorrow. If you can't be at Greenway, Ryan Curran will bring you all the action tomorrow afternoon as the Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup goes further and further towards the grand final. We started the day with 4 teams left. We finished it up with 3. We say thank you to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos for some really entertaining football during the course of the 2018 season and some tremendous highlights on Bar TV. To the West Belconnen Warriors, we say thanks for your efforts so far. We look forward to catching up with you again next week on Bar TV. And Sonny Singh, thank you very much for your company this afternoon.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
On behalf of everyone involved with the Canberra Raiders Cup and Bar TV, this is Chris Coleman signing off for this afternoon. Don't forget, tomorrow from just prior to 3 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, you'll be able to catch the major semi-final. Ryan Curran will bring that one to you. And next Sunday afternoon, we'll have the preliminary final for you as we bring you all the finals live on Bar TV through 2018. Thanks for your company today.